You know, I've done about 40 or 50 talk shows on the baby parts thing since the whole thing began when we released it back in May. And I've noticed some things that are very interesting here. First, on the side of the pro-lifers, this thing is having, as you guys have seen, an enormous emotional impact on our people. I mean, we're having some very interesting conversations with pro-lifers who call in on these talk shows that you and I have done together.
Right, and not just interesting, but very emotional ones.
Right.
You have people calling up crying, saying they can't believe this is going on.
Let me, let's play a tape here of a couple, just two examples of this.
258-8255 if you'd like to join us. To the phones. Good morning. Thank you for calling.
Hi. I'm just so appalled by this. I'm probably going to start crying.
Hey, I did it last night sitting there watching the video, so just join me.
I can't believe this is going on in this country. I'm in the car right now with my son, going to buy stuff for his birthday party, and I can't listen to this with him in the car. I can't believe this. I can't. I mean, I do believe it, but part of my mind is just saying, how can this be going on in this country? How can we be doing this to the most defenseless, the most precious, the most innocent, and say it doesn't matter, and that they're in the money is the root of it. And I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. God is using you as a tremendous tool and as a tremendous weapon against propaganda that the abortion industry is putting out there. And I just thank you for having the fortitude and the strength to deal with this and get the truth out there.
Well, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you for the phone call.
Okay, bye.
258-8255 if you'd like to join us. Back to the phones. Good morning. Thank you for calling.
Good morning. It's Pat.
Hey, Pat.
And I am an OB RN. Have been for almost 30 years, and I am just so angry. I'm much in the same condition as the woman that called. I just got home from work. I've been there since 6:30 last night, and when I see these little babies in the NICU unit hanging on to life and the struggle that we put in hour after hour after hour, just willing these children to breathe, just willing these children to stay alive, desperately trying to keep them alive, and watching their parents grieving when we can't keep them alive. And I see this and hear this. I am so angry. The doctor that runs the abortion clinic here, I see on the floor, and I have to go down the hall. I cannot stay at the nurse's station when this man walks on the floor. To me, he is so despicable that he would come and deliver babies and leave from there and go and kill babies. And I can't tell you the rage that I feel.
As you can tell, these people are pretty upset, and these are just two of many that we've had. We don't even have tapes of the vast majority of them. The last one I did, I had a man call in who said he had to pull over the side of the road, and he was crying and said he just can't listen to this. On the other side, we're having all these pro-aborts that are conspicuous by their absence. They won't come on and talk about this. I've had a lot of these hosts call and say that they tried to get somebody to come on opposite me and they wouldn't do it, or come on and talk about this from the pro-abortion perspective. They wouldn't do it. And then you had that one person who said they
flat out they had the people from Anatomic Gift Foundation on, and the stipulation was that they did not want you to be opposite her on the program.
They don't want to have to answer questions.
They didn't care if they ran ran
into
interview
no
with you
dialogue
afterwards. But
you know, the question here though is why. On the pro-life from the pro-life standpoint, why is this so emotionally impacting to our people? Because we've always known they're killing the baby, right? And so why are these people getting so bent out of shape about the possibility they're killing them outside the womb? Our goal, I mean, our argument is that these babies shouldn't be killed outside the womb. Our argument is they shouldn't be killed anywhere.
Well, I guess my question then is, did we really believe it all along? I mean, if it's upsetting the pro-lifers, us, the pro-lifers, as much as it has been, and it definitely has from what we've heard, did we really believe our own rhetoric?
Well, that's the uncomfortable thing that it brings into question. Why, you know, and I've asked a couple of pro-lifers who've called in, why are you so upset over this when you knew that abortions were going on? And really, if they're killing the baby, what real difference does it make to you if it's inside the womb or outside?
Or if they chop them up and send them
sell
to
them once they're
the
dead,
different corners
you
of
know.
the country. Yeah, it really, I think you've hit on something there that to a large extent we don't believe our own rhetoric. And, you know, really, we see that on a daily basis because the response we take that, okay, well, we'll wait to do something about this at a church pro-life meeting next month or something like that. We don't have an immediate response to always to the fact that they're killing babies in our own, you know, in our own town
Communities, right.
every week. And so I think a lot of that is that. I think another issue is that I think as a movement we've been naive about just how evil our opposition is. I think a lot of people seem to have the response, and I know to a certain extent, I even did, guess I'm kind of sorry to admit that, we can't believe that they're going this far. Okay, we know they're killing babies in the womb. For whatever reason, our society has decided to accept that, and we just know we have to deal with that as an accepted thing in society that we're fighting against. But that we can't believe that they would go to the next step of chopping these babies up and selling their parts,
Exactly.
or delivering them alive and then killing them after they've been delivered. I think we just can't believe that they'd actually go that far.
What we found out now is not only are they murderers, they're grave robbers. I mean, you know,
that's
it's not
right.
enough that they kill the
what you
baby.
could call 'em.
They got to go back and pick the bones.
And it's just the ratcheting up of the violence, just like
Right.
a few years ago, people started bringing guns and weapons to school, for example. Now we have, unfortunately, students killing other students.
We have a shooting a month, it seems like.
Right, and we're just ratcheting things up, and I think that's what's happened in this situation.
Well, what about the pro-aborts? Why don't they want to talk about this?
Well, it's just a
PR
political
nightmare.
liability,
Yeah,
right, that it humanizes the baby. Suddenly, rather than talking about something philosophical, we're talking about ears and eyes and limbs. Being procured from babies less than 8 weeks old.
Right.
They can't talk about the babies anymore as a glob of tissue or undifferentiated mass of cells or
obligate parasite.
right.
Right.
Or just in the vague terms of the pregnancy.
Right.
They can't do that anymore. Never again are they going to be able to talk about them in those vague philosophical terms that don't create an emotional response.
Right. When they put out, the day that they started putting out price lists that say, we'll buy the ears off of babies less than 8 weeks old, then what they were saying is that babies less than 8 weeks old have ears.
Right.
Now that they would have never admitted 6 months ago, and they've been able for the last 27 years to tell this lie that, like you said, it's just this big glob of tissue and this undifferentiated mass of cells, and now they can't tell that lie anymore. That lie is gone.
I mean, they are selling the baby parts, which is horrendous, but they are admitting in doing that the baby does have value.
Oh, yes, right. And, you know, the thing about it is, too, the few of them that still cling to this argument that the baby's not human and not a human being, well, what is it you're selling here?
That's right.
What
selling alien ears and alien legs, I guess.
Yeah, it's really astonishing. But I think the great thing here is, like I said a moment ago, it's taken away one of their biggest lies.
Right.
They cannot tell this lie anymore, and they know it, and I think it panics them. The other thing that panics them is, they can't argue against this from the standpoint of protecting a woman's right to choose.
That's
quote
right,
unquote.
because all this happens after the abortion has
After the
already
abortion.
taken place.
Right.
And the woman doesn't have any choice in this matter either, incidentally.
In some cases, that's right.
I would venture to guess that very few women know that this baby part selling is going on after the abortion takes place.
Yeah, well, by law, they're supposed to get a document signed saying they give permission.
Well,
but we know
we've
that as a
heard that doesn't really happen.
As a practical matter, that
Right.
doesn't always happen. So, yes, I think that a lot of these women are being shocked, and we've had some calls from women who've, you know, and which is another odd thing about this. I know you got a very emotional call from one woman who was saying, you know, I can't believe that they might have done this.
She had had an abortion. She was just wondering, what did they do with my baby? What did they end up doing with this baby after the abortion? And she just was traumatized at the thought that they might have sold the baby's parts.
Now, see, that's what I'm saying about the irrationality of this.
That was a question that they should have been asking all along. But now that we have this issue of harvesting baby parts, all of a sudden it's a viable question.
Yeah,
Well,
They should have asked it all along before. I mean, these babies don't just vaporize.
But what I'm saying is, looking at it from this woman that you told me about that called that day, if she carried her baby in to be killed, why does she care what happened to it afterwards?
Well, first off, I think she was pro-life now, so that the whole she had a different perspective on the whole thing. But
Right. Yeah, but I mean, we've had other calls, and you know that all these women aren't pro-life. Why do they care that these people sold their baby if they're the ones who took it in to be killed?
Well, you know what? I think it goes back to the old "if I can't have it, nobody else will" argument. I have talked to so many women who have said, yeah, I can have an abortion, but I could never place the baby for adoption.
yeah.
I mean, I think it's the same dynamic at work there.
Right.
That
It's
makes
a
sense.
weird
It's very
deal.
childish,
It's weird.
but
Yeah, really, all of this discussion on the philosophical and also really psychological issues behind this is just really interesting. That
Yeah.
just from both sides. Why the pro-lifers are so bent out of shape, and why the pro. Well, I think we could pretty well understand why the pro-aborts run from it so
Right.
quickly. But I really hope we can kind of understand this a little bit more and figure out how better to use the psychology here behind it to help strengthen our movement.